Last night I went to see a screening of The Shining at the GFT in Glasgow, which is the Glasgow Film Theatre. It used to be the old Cosmo Cinema in Glasgow. And I just want to sort of talk about the experience of going to sort of specialist cinemas and how much fun I had at this. I'll probably do a more in-depth video at some point about this sort of topic. But yeah, I went to see The Shining last night with a few friends, and it's always an interesting experience when you go to a cinema that isn't like a sort of large multiplex. The GFT in Glasgow it is a special interest sort of cinema. Every Friday night they do sort of classic films, and obviously in the lead up to Halloween they do a few horror films. Last year I went to see Halloween there. It was a great print of the film, brilliant atmosphere, and last night different sort of atmosphere in a way. It was busier last night. It was like it was completely full. I mean, it was so busy that it's one of those things where if you went in a crowd, you couldn't all sit together. You had to just find seats spotted about. It was the first time I'd watched the film in 16:9 aspect ratio. It's always been 4:3 that I had seen it in, and as far as I was aware, that was the way the film was to be presented. That it was always had the sort of 4:3 aspect ratio. But we looked it up afterwards, and apparently originally maybe it did have a 16:9 um, aspect ratio. But the thing is, it's not super wide, but it was interesting seeing it framed like that. Um, I thought that the print was really good. The atmosphere was very kind, because there were people there that hadn't seen the film, but were going because it was like The Shining, and it's such a classic horror movie, so people wanted to see what it was, check it out, see what the fuss was about, and it was great to see people reacting to the movie. It's also like if you get one of those special interest sort of late night showings, it was like 11 o'clock at night. It's only the fans that go, or film enthusiasts. You don't really get people going who aren't into it, and that creates a special atmosphere in itself. I mean, how many times do you go to the cinema now and get a fantastic atmosphere? It's quite rare. Every now and then you'll get one which is great, but it is quite rare that you get a fantastic atmosphere. When you go to one of these screenings, you're guaranteed practically to have a brilliant atmosphere. I think as well. I mean, it's not like it's a really rigid like atmosphere environment. People did laugh at some. I mean, there were some things in The Shining last night that I found funny, and uh, I'd never found funny before. I'd always been like, this is a really serious film. But I noticed last night that there were certain aspects of it that were really amusing, especially things at the beginning of the film where Jack Nicholson's talking about, I would never hurt any of you, and like the whole cinema was laughing at all that sort of stuff. But it was great, just a really, really great atmosphere. And the cinema is like, it's like a classic cinema, so it looks like I mean, it's been a cinema for decades and decades, but it looks like one of these, you can imagine a cinema like that in the sort of 40s, 50s, where it's really plush, and it just has a great atmosphere, and I just so much prefer these sorts of cinemas. Last Christmas, I went to see It's a Wonderful Life there on Christmas Eve, and it doesn't get much better than that. It was just a wonderful atmosphere. Everybody was just so into it, and so if you haven't been, if you've seen, oh, they're screening a film. Even sometimes they'll do it in multiplexes, even if it's like a late night showing of a classic film there. I would really recommend checking it out, because I think you get the sort of experience that you're supposed to get with film. I mean, a lot of people are getting to the point now where, you know, the fidelity of like your home, the home like sort of DVD or Blu-ray, is so good. The technology is so good now that a lot of time people get a better experience at home than they do when they go to the cinema. Especially if you go to the cinema and there's people just talking over it and carrying on and all that, and you've paid to see a movie and it's sort of getting spoiled for you. but if you go to see a special interest movie, or you go to see one of these sort of late night screenings of a classic film, it's all fans. They all want to enjoy it. Yeah, some people are going to laugh at certain bits. When I saw Halloween last year, there were like, times people laughed at certain things just because it dates a little bit, and but it was totally cool. People laughed at the right times. Um, so that was the Shining that I went to see. The weird thing is, it was like the cut of it felt different. And we checked it out, and because I know there's a European cut and there's an American cut, and the American cut's longer. Now that apparently was a European cut because it was like, I don't know how long it was. It was about 2 hours. The American version's longer, but it felt different. I don't know if it's just been 'cause it's been a while since I've watched it. So the DVD I've got of it, I'm going to watch soon just to see if it was a different cut. It just felt like shots lingered for longer. It felt like there were extra bits of dialogue in there, but I don't know. I mean, it may just have been my imagination because I recently found out that there was, another cut of the film, and I thought, oh, I wonder if this is the American cut, but I don't know. I don't know if it was. Um, it seems to have been the European cut. So I mean, that was interesting, and it's such a great film. It really is. I mean, there's genuinely unnerving things in it, and it is a film which conceptually is so dense, and it has so much symbolism in it that you can take it at face value as a sort of haunted house film, or you can take it at face value as a study of cabin fever or whatever. But I think you can also really get into what the filmmaker was trying to say with regards to, for example, the plight of the Native Americans and the exploitation of minorities in America. I think there's a lot of symbolism in the film which suggests that that's what Kubrick was perhaps talking about. The mother slowly but surely wearing clothes, her hair, very reminiscent of Native American women, and there are pictures on all the walls which are all seem to be revolving around Native American people. Sometimes it's almost as if they're almost like the ghosts of the place on the wall, sort of looking at you, and there's Native American, well, what sounds like Native American chanting mixed into some of the soundscape. The picture at the end is July 4th, Independence Day. There's a lot of stuff which leads you to think that it is kind of about that, more than anything else, and it's about kind of white colonial powers manipulating people and exploiting people and treating them terribly, and then just history repeats itself, and will we continue to keep on doing that? And I think that's why there's a sort of cyclical question at the end of The Shining. Some people think that's bullshit. I'm not really into like really out there interpretations of films, but if you watch that and with that in mind, if you watch the film later, you'll realise that if Kubrick really was into symbolism, he really was into putting things in the frame which meant something. Why did he put all of these things in the frame? That's what you got to ask yourself. Anyway, specialist showings of films are amazing. I'll do this has been a bit of a all over the place video, but I had a real blast last night watching that. I'm getting my foot sort of, let's say, operated on. I'm getting it sorted on Tuesday, and there's a showing of The Evil Dead at the GFT on Friday night. I really want to go, but I've been told that I might have to be off my feet for a week, so if they give me crutches, yeah, I should be alright. Evil Dead, it's Evil Dead, come on, I'm going to check that out. Anyway, have any of you guys been to sort of late night viewings of films and found that the atmosphere was just so much better, or specialist viewings of films, or do any of you have near you? Do you have a sort of classic cinema that does sort of special interest movies and all that, and let me know about your experiences. Bye for now.